In this video, I want to share with you the $1 million marketing strategy that feels illegal, but it is not illegal. And there are all kinds of strategies online for you to build a business, for you to earn money online that has to do with Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and all these other big platforms. But this time I want to focus on Medium because there is not enough information about that. Not many people know about it. Not many people have taken advantage of it. And because ads is impossible on the platform, most people think that it's impossible for you to run a business or to run a brand with Medium because you cannot actually advertise like you can on Facebook and Instagram and those other platforms. But it is actually possible. So it feels illegal, but it is not illegal, and this is very, very interesting. This is very eye-opening, and in my opinion, this is the way to make $1 million or even more on Medium. Now, this is not something that you can do yourself in the sense that you can earn money by being in the partner program and make $1 million from there. That is not possible. At least the way things stand right now, it is not possible for you to make $1 million from the partner program just like that. So this is not about the partner program kind of mindset and kind of thinking. This is something a little bit different, and this is something that applies to brands and businesses, and the emphasis is more on brands than even businesses, and you would see how everything falls together. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you who this is for, the target demographics that this is very useful for, the marketing funnel strategy. I'm going to break that down for you, and I'm going to show you how to avoid getting banned, because sometimes this would get to areas where it's close to the line and you don't want to cross the line so you don't get banned or get in trouble about things like that. And I would show you how to get to that point where you can be making like $1 million in product launch. Now remember, this is about product launching, so this is not about writing and earning on Medium, but this is about using Medium to build a business or to build a brand. So let's get right into it. So the first thing to recognize and to understand and to observe is who Medium is for. So if you're not familiar, it's medium.com. If you go there, it's a place where people write and people read, and there are all kinds of articles there, and there are all kinds of people come there every day to read subjects that they care about and things like that. So it's majorly a reading and writing platform, and ads are not allowed. So it's not something that is friendly towards making ads or things like that, which makes it a very, very peculiar platform. Writers are paid based on how much readers read and engage with their articles or stories. So medium.com is actually not for writers, as much as the platform you want to say, oh, they are writer friendly. There was a time it was, and I would say that the platform started out that way, but that's not the way it is right now. So it's not really suitable for writers when it comes to making money. So we are talking in the context of making money now. So it's not really suited for writers because you can't really build an audience. And the reason why I said that you can't build an audience is, even though you have lots of people following you, that doesn't mean that your future articles or your future stories are going to reach a lot of people. It doesn't really work that way. So it's kind of editorial gatekeeping kind of structure that they have on the platform. So it's more like a community, and it's like a closely guarded community in such a way. So if you say you build an audience there, and the platform may want to argue that, oh, this is something that you can build an audience in, but I have been on the platform, and I can say that if you want to build an audience, you're better off using some of the other platforms, not Medium, to build an audience. And I would say it's not ideal for creators either, because you can't do lead gen. Now, I have tried to do lead gen in the past with Medium, and I've used it for some kind of lead gen. While it works, it is not so effective, and the platform is not so friendly towards it. Remember, it's an ad-free platform, and if you want to start doing things that relate to ads, things that relate to CTAs on an ad-free platform, you know the kind of pushback you're going to get. And remember, this is a community and not really a platform anymore. So it's really not ideal for creators. In fact, there are some publications who will straight up tell you that if you do things that creators do often, and you put that kind of content, they would not accept you. And so it's also not for authors. And the reason why I say this is because it's possible to earn a kind of income from Medium, but it's virtually impossible to earn a stable income. Like I've shown it in my video, which is the truth about Medium. I've shown it there, and you would see all my analytics right there from Medium, just to show you what the income is like. And while sometimes it can be substantial, in most cases, in a regular flow of months, you would see that it is very, very, very unstable. So you cannot base your living based off of writing on Medium. It's of course a supplementary income or something like that, but you cannot base your you cannot base your main business. You cannot base your living based on writing on Medium. So that's important to note. And the next the next thing is affiliate. And the reason why I consider it, not because there's some people who teach that, oh, Medium is perfect for affiliates, but the thing about affiliates is that you don't have advanced data analytics. So you can only measure from, from a third party, from wherever they have to go. And you cannot really zero down on what exactly is happening on your Medium stories and whether people are clicking. You can't know when people click your articles to go somewhere or not. And even when they do, the platform has, because I've tested many of these things many times, the platform has a way of discouraging it, such that it's kind of hard, it's kind of difficult for readers. It's not a seamless experience. Let me put it that way. It's not a seamless experience, and I believe that that is done on purpose. So it's not ideal for athletes either. It's not ideal for journalists because you cannot control your reach. Your distribution is out of your hands. It's based on the platform. It's based on the editorials. How many people you reach, regardless of the number of followers that you have, how many people you reach is out of your hands. You have little control over that. And also, it's not ideal for businesses because you can't run ads. So if you have, like, I've seen a lot of business come, they will open a Medium account and they will try their best to write articles about their business, about what they do and things like that, and try to get people, try to get clients, try to use Medium as a kind of prospecting platform, and it never works well because after a few months you just find out that those businesses are no longer actively sharing articles or posting. And I agree with that sentiment because it's not a place that is heart friendly. It's not a place where you can run ads. It's not a place where you can set measurable business metrics like that. So just have that at the back of your mind. So this is all that it is not. And while that looks like something that is very, very difficult and hard not to crack, there is something that can work, and there is a way for things to be able to work out if you pay attention and you follow what I'm about to share with you. Now, how do I know all these things? Because I've told you, okay, it's not for writers, it's not for creators, it's not for affiliates, it's not for businesses. How do I know? I've spent 7 years on the platform, started writing on the platform in January 2018. That's when I started writing on the platform. I have 169,000 followers, more than most people on the platform. Not many people have more followers than me on Medium. And so when I tell you things about the reach, things about the distribution, they are not just things that I'm saying off my head. They are things that I've experimented with, things that I've seen and things that I've known. I've made more than $70,000 in these 7 years. So it's not a one-time thing. So in these 7 years, I've made over $70,000 from the Medium Partner Program. So that's just something. And I have over 1,200 articles, which have reached 2.6 million views, people. And I'm very, very experimental about Medium, meaning that I'm not just someone who sit down and just write an article and oops, you go viral. I test a lot of things. I've tested different kind of angles, different kind of titles, and I don't listen to what anybody says. I don't listen to what the CEO says or whatever. I just test. I test and see what works, test and see what works, test and see what works. And based on that, I have formed a kind of philosophy and I formed a kind of idea that I believe that works on the platform, and my results on the platform shows it. And sometimes I make some kind of moves that is unusual, and with that you can get a very great result or you can get a very poor result based on that. So I test a lot on my account and use that to understand the platform even better. Now, who is Medium for? Medium is actually for publications. Now, this is not the way it started. The platform Medium has undergone lots of changes in the last at least 7 years that I know of it, and it has gone through lots and lots of changes. And what it is right now, what the platform is right now, is basically geared towards publications, and it supports publications the most. So if you really want to build anything on Medium, this is what I tell businesses: is you don't try to create a writer account, you create a publication, because that is the way to go. If you look at one of the top people on Medium right now, they now all have a publication. So the way to go is to create a publication, because that's where the power is. And as just someone writing on the platform, you will probably never get anywhere. So have that at the back of your mind. It's not for writers, it's not for creators, it's not for businesses. It's for people who have publications. And there's a lot of power there, and there's a lot of control there. And I'm going to break it down for you shortly. Now, this marketing strategy I'm about to share with you would not work for everybody. It's it's $1 million strategy. I strongly believe that, but of course, it won't work for everybody. It won't work for every brand. It won't work for every business, and it specifically has some peculiarities with it that make it ideal for a certain group or a certain brand. So, in my own thinking, the brands that are ideal for this and the businesses that are ideal for this will be clothing brands, luxury brands. And when I mean luxury brands, it doesn't have to be as high as the ultra luxury brands like let's say Rolex, or let's say something like the hyper luxury. Just think hyper luxury, the Ferrari and the Lamborghinis and all of that. It doesn't have to be that big, but it has to be affordable luxury. Okay, so affordable luxury, for example, talking about iPhone, the Apple products and things like that. So affordable luxury brands, it works well, it would work well for it. And also health and beauty products. So especially when it comes to women's health, women's beauty products and stuff like that, I strongly believe that this strategy is going to work well, very well for those kind of products. And notice I said products, not services. So this is for products. And so if you think about it, it's really B2C products that falls under the demographics that Medium is all about. So because you have to be demographics conscious when you are dealing with Medium. So the most important thing in business is market. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about this in many different ways, who are trying to talk about, the most important thing in business is the idea, the most important thing in the business is management. But all of those things do not, you can't have management if you don't have market. And what do I mean by market? I don't mean marketing, I mean market. And market is the people that you are selling to. If you don't have people that you are selling to, you don't have a business. That's like the basic thing. If you have a product idea, that's not a business. When you have people that want to buy from you, are willing and able to buy from you, then you have a market. That's when you have a business. So the most important thing in business is the market you're trying to serve. And while a lot of people try to look for an idea, try to look for a product, try to look for all kinds of things, my approach to business is to first look for the right markets to serve. And that's the approach that I am taking here also, that to figure out what is the market, what is the right market to serve in this situation, in this context. So let's go to the market demographics of Medium, because if you are going to serve the market of Medium, you ought to understand the demographics. Now, this is based on my own use of the platform over the last 7 years, and I do not have any data from Medium to support this. But based on what I've seen, based on the engagement that I've seen, based on the people I've interacted with, based on me using the platform over the last 7 years, this is what I form in my mind to be the strongest demographical area of Medium. Now, there can be other areas that is interesting, but as a business person, if I wanted to bet and my target market does not fall into any of this category, I would not go to Medium at all. Like, it's not a place to go into. So these are the demographics that I feel like, based on the engagement that I've seen and my experience on the platform, these are the demographics that I feel would perform very well. So the first thing is female. And while the platform has, a fair distribution of, males and females and all of that, people generally, and what I would say is I have found that there is a lot more engagement, there is a lot more writing, there is a lot more, lots more females engaging with the platform than males. Now, I don't know what the data says from Medium itself. Maybe they have a data to refute that. But from what I can see from my own experience, I think it's overwhelmingly female dominated platform. I think it's an overwhelmingly female-dominated platform. And also another thing I noticed is 35 plus, and that is age. So the age range, in my opinion, is 35 and above. It's possible for you to find people, of course, who are less than 35, but they are not as common, not as frequent as people who are over the age of 35, which is very, very instructive, which is very, very interesting. So those are the kind of people that you would find more on Medium than people who are below that. The Gen Z generation are mostly on TikTok, so they are not the ones you go on Medium to look for. And then another thing is the political left, and this is talking about, generally speaking, not just in America, the audience of the platform leans to the left of the political aisle. Now, it's not extreme left, and of course there are people who are on the right, there are people who are on the center, but I would argue that a vast majority lean to the left of the political spectrum. So just something to keep at the back of your mind if you are using the platform. So for example, like I also said, I said Medium is now a community and a lot of things are editorial based. So if you wanted, if you are saying something that is towards the political right or very, very strong to the political right, it will probably never perform very well. So just something to keep at the back of your mind. It contains lots of Americans. Americans are on the platform. Another strong group that are on the platform are Indians, which is a lot of them are on the platform also. Retired people. This is another very, very, very strong demographic. Retired people are on the platform. Another group of people is tech bros. You know what I mean? Tech bros. Now, this is something that I've played to my advantage, and the reason is because I write articles about technology, often, and I found out that the readership when it comes to technology is very, very, very significant. So talking about the tech bros, talking about the Silicon Valley culture and all of that. So that is very, very, very strong on Medium. There are lots of actually tech companies that have blogs on Medium or that used to have blogs on Medium. So that is important to know. And then finally, writers. There are lots of writers on the platform, lots and lots of writers. Because the platform is, built in a way that it gives a hope for writers to make supplementary income. So that is something that is also very common. So if you are going to be if you're going to be working, if you're going to be doing business, or if you're going to be building a brand for Medium, on Medium, for whatever business it is you have to focus on at least one of these demographics for Medium. Now, let's take a case study, because the best way to give you a breakdown of this marketing strategy is for us to use a case study and for us to use an hypothetical company or a hypothetical case. And so by understanding that hypothetical case, you can extrapolate that into your business, and you can use that to consider whether this is a good fit for you or it is not a good fit for you. And if it's not a good fit for you, please don't force it. If it's not a good fit for you, find somewhere else for you to play around and to build a business and a brand on. But if it's a good fit for you, I highly encourage you to try this at least before the platform starts making rules against it, because I have a feeling that when enough people try this, they are going to start making rules against it, because they just like to do that, I guess. So case study. So for this case study, we are considering an healthcare company that is based in the US, targeting Americans majorly, which is a great thing. Healthcare company, which is affordable products, which is something that you want in this case. And then the target audience is women after hitting menopause. Now, to consider the age, which is 35 plus, now you realize that makes a lot of sense, because women after hitting menopause, they are quite substantial on that platform. Like, they come together on that platform a lot. So that makes a lot of sense for a company that looks like this to try to build something on Medium. So if they wanted to do something like that, let's look at how it's going to look like. So this is where the strategy part begins, and if you want to take notes, I highly encourage you that you do so. But this video also will always be online, except somebody requests that we take it down. So let's get right into it. So the first thing to do, you have to get 5 Medium accounts, create 5 Medium accounts. Now, this might not be, you might not create the whole 5. So there are ways to do this. You can actually get people who have existing Medium accounts and then just get them on this plan that you have. So, but the idea is you have to have 5 to get started, like 5. And these are not brand accounts. These are not company accounts. These are writing accounts that is owned by people. These are personal accounts. All accounts must be personal, must be human beings running them, not a brand, not a company. So even if you are going to be the one physically that will be running the different 5 accounts. Just make sure that it's a human being and not a robot, and it's definitely not a company account. Let it be a personal account, a human being that has a name, that has a face, and all of that. So you need 5, and you would understand the significance of this as we go forward. Now, there are different kinds of subscriptions on the platform. You can choose to stay free, or you can go to the member subscription, and then there's also one that they call the friend subscription. Now, if you want to do this, I highly recommend that for the 5 accounts, you have 3 member subscriptions, which is $50 a year, and you have 2 friend subscription, which is $150 a year. So that totals to $450 a year, and that is, I think, pretty much the whole expense of this strategy, which is going to make sense if we start to go forward. But you have to make sure that you have all 5 accounts functioning, and you have all 5 personal accounts. Remember, they must be personal accounts. So whether you create them or you get existing people who have accounts on Medium to work with you or to collaborate with you to do something like this is very, very useful. So keep that at the back of your mind. 3 member accounts. Now, if you can do more, that's fine, but I just feel like 5 is a good number for you to be able to start and be able to launch this. So just make sure that you have 3 that are in the membership subscription and 2 that are in the friend subscription. So that's where you start from. So when you have those, you start a publication. And even before you start a publication, make sure that those personal accounts that you have, they start operating instantly as much as you can. Start writing articles, start posting articles on other people's platform, and there's a way you design the bio of all those personal accounts. Like, I've done a lot of analysis on this, and so you can actually go to the playlist where I have all my Medium videos and see how to run these things on how to run a personal account, and some of the best practices from there. So you have those accounts, and you start writing from those accounts, start publishing from those accounts on other publications, and you start making the account active, engaging, commenting, liking, highlighting, all of that. So when you start doing that, maybe after a couple of weeks, then you start a publication yourself with one of those 5 accounts. Now, the publication creator and main editor, the account that creates the publication, because any account can create a publication, but the account that creates a publication must be one that's on a friend subscription. Very, very, very important. It must be one that's on a friend subscription. And in our case, using the case study we're using a healthcare company that's US based, that's targeting women that have hit menopause and with healthcare products, probably. So they will start a publication that sounds something like this: Life After Menopause, and they will build. And so this is very important, because you must not don't call it your business name, don't call it your brand name. Do try as much as possible not to associate your business with the publication. Try as much as possible not to do that. Instead, what you do is you look for the target markets that you want to serve, and speak the message of your brand, and speak the core message that you have for that audience, and just say it in the publication title and the publication heading. So in this case, I would go with the title. If I was doing something like this, I would go with the title that says Life After Menopause as the publication name. And then I'll build everything around Life After Menopause. Remember, the company is selling to women that have hit menopause, all kinds of health products. So that's important for you to build a publication that aligns with that. So keep that at the back of your mind. And also, everything must be zeroed around life after menopause, because you're talking to people, and you have to be very conscious about that. Now, the next is to create an Unsplash account. Now, Unsplash is a platform. It's unsplash.com, where you can post pictures and where people go to get pictures to use for their blogs and all kinds of things. Medium integrates with unsplash.com to get featured image for every article that anybody posts. So while I've seen this as an opportunity from a long while ago, that why is it that most brands are not targeting based off of that anyway. So but the idea is to go to medium.com and create an account. This time, use your brand, use your company as the name of the account, as the title of the account, and use your brand. You can brand it however, you can brand it your company, and just make that, and make it like, it's, your company is like the photographer or whatever that's posting on Unsplash. And what you want to do on Unsplash is to post lovely pictures from your photo shoots. We are talking about the brand now, from your photo shoots of your products and clients demographic. So you want to take lots of pictures about your products, take lots of pictures on your clients demographic, the kind of people that you want to reach, what they look like, maybe them holding the product, them using the product, and all of that stuff. You want to have lots and lots and lots of images like that, and then you take those images and just upload everything to Unsplash. And you want to have hundreds of them. It will make sense the moment people start publishing articles on your publication, because you will just be able to pull pictures, your own brand pictures, from Unsplash. And that is the wisdom in all of this. So the whole idea of creating an Unsplash account is so that you can use pictures from Unsplash on the articles in your publications without it breaking Medium rules, or without it being the obvious advertisement on Medium, which can lead to a few issues. So the moment you do that, the moment you have that Unsplash account, you start writing and you start publishing. And the idea is to write articles from the customer's perspective. Remember, Medium is not a place you go to write company content. No, you have to write stories, and you have to speak from client's perspective, customer perspective. In our case, we're talking about women after eating menopause. What are their stories? So you want those stories to come out. And so the idea of having the 5 accounts is you have different accounts to be posting pictures, posting articles from. So before you invite other people to join the publication, you have to set the pace. So you need, I think, let's say at least 3 other or 4 other accounts that are posting on the platform regularly, so that it can show that the platform has some traction. It can show that the platform has some legs, and things are moving forward, and things are moving really, really in a good way. So you use all 5 Medium accounts to post articles. Use pictures from Unsplash as a featured image always. So you just go to the Unsplash accounts that you created and look and take the picture, the photo shoots that you made, and use that as the featured image of every article that you post in your publication, because you can actually do that because it's your publication, and also because the pictures are coming from Unsplash, so it won't seem like, oh, you're trying to pull this from a website, or you're trying to pull this from somewhere, which is a smart thing. And also always use pictures from Unsplash on every article, whether it's written by whoever it is that's writing it. They just put the picture. Now the big idea of using Unsplash is because if you can just put the pictures there without using Unsplash, without having an Unsplash account. But the problem with that is when it comes to extending it to other people, when it comes to extending it to other writers, for example, other Medium accounts, if they are posting a similar picture to a picture that someone has already used and it's not publicly available on a platform like Unsplash, then the question arises that where do they get those pictures? So you want the Medium accounts that are posting to be, as much as possible, not to look like they are related to each other. But those of you who run it, you will know that, okay, this thing is related together, but you must give the impression that it's really not related. And that's how to play it. So the next thing after that is to open up the publication to writers. So once you have set the pace, you have a couple of articles on your publication, then the next thing you want to do is open it up to writers. Let other people who are on the platform apply to become writers. And when people have seen some of your articles, they love it, they've clapped, they've engaged, you've had maybe some comments and things like that, you would have people who will be interested in writing for your publication. And then you open the publication to writers and make that announcement. I have an application process where you collect email addresses of writers for your CRM. Now, this is where the business begins. Okay, so when people want to apply to become a writer, don't do it the way some publications do it, which is where they will say, oh, just write a comment and we'll just add you. Don't do it like that. Have a form where writers are going to fill that form, and then from that form you would add them as writers. There are basic questions that you can ask from writers when they are filling that form. The questions should not be too long, it should not be too lengthy. It should be 5 to 7 questions, 7 questions maximum. It shouldn't be more than that. And make it very simple. Make it very simple, make it very direct. Ask for email addresses of the writers. and you can use actually Google Forms to create this form. But if you are doing this as a brand, I would highly recommend that you use something a little bit fancy, maybe like Typeform, to create that writer form, that application form for writers. And so when they give you their emails, you see that email goes directly to your CRM, which is very powerful, because now you're having people who want to write stories about life, life after menopause. That those people are automatically your clients, and not just people that are your clients, people that are your ideal prospects. They are also people who are going to be outspoken about whatever experiences that they have with you or things like that. So the email addresses you collect from writers or potential writers goes directly to your CRM, and I strongly recommend that you tag them in a very specific way so that you can know that these are people that are writers on Medium. Very, very important. And then when you have that going into your CRM, then you add an additional publication editor. This time you add someone who is a Medium member subscription. You have a friend subscription as the main editor of the publication. Then you have a second editor, and that second editor must be a Medium member. So you have two editors, and then as time goes on you can add more, but just make sure that you have those two the moment you start accepting other writers to publish articles on your publication. Now, from then, you must create what is known on the platform as a submission guidelines. Now, what are submission guidelines? Are just basic guidelines that writers are going to read and see if they fit into to write on your publication, to write on the platform on Medium. So here are a few things. Now, if you go through some of the existing publications on Medium and you go through their submission guidelines, will give you some idea of what to put there and what not to put there. But here are a few things, because of this strategy, here are a few things that I feel that it's very important for you to put in your submission guidelines. So the first is you reserve the right to reject stories that don't line up with your mission. So there will be cases, I can almost say that there will be cases where you would have a certain kind of stories that you don't feel comfortable publishing on your platform. Maybe it has something negative to do with your company, or it has something negative to, it's just a kind of vibe that it does not align with your mission, and you have to state it there that you are reserved the right to reject stories that don't line up with your mission. And feel free, if we reject your stories, don't say because of that you will not write any, you will not submit anymore to the publication. Just because your story is rejected once doesn't mean that it will always be rejected. So you can have something like that on your submission guidelines, just for you to anticipate any issues. And then reserve the right to change the main featured image, because now this is your selling points. You have this account on Unsplash that has all the photo shoots, that has to do with your brand, that has to do with your ideal customer profile and all of that. So what you want is when someone submits a story and you see that, okay, this story checks out, you want as much as possible for the featured image of that story to be something that is connected to your brand. So having that on Unsplash, so this is the reason why you have an account on Unsplash, because if you just go from anywhere and then you pick a picture and you just put it there and it's not publicly accessible, it raises a lot of questions. But if it's publicly accessible on Unsplash, nobody would think about it that it's something. So reserve the rights to change the main featured image and let people know that, okay, if you submit an article, we can actually change the featured image to something we are more comfortable with. So the next thing is the basic Medium editorial rules that positions you for the boost program, because this is something you would actually need in the future. So the basic editorial rules that position you for the boost program, have that at the back of your mind, and structure for it from the onset. And I will also strongly suggest, now this is something that I've not seen any publication do, but I will highly recommend that you do that, especially if you want to follow this strategy, is to create a short video training for writers in your publication. Create a short video training for the writers that are going to be in your publication, and that video training, the link will be on the submission guidelines. And also, anytime you reject a story, you can just put the link there that, hey, this is the kind of, go through this training, this writer training, and that will give you a firm idea of what we are all about and what we're doing in this publication. I have not seen in my 7 years of Medium, I have not seen a publication that creates a kind of video training for their writers. I have not seen any publication do that, and I can assure you, if you do that, it's going to make you stand out very, very, very significantly, and it's going to be a great value add Now, for the training, there are a few things to note about that. It must be a video training, and the reason is strategic because of this strategy that we're talking about. What I would do in that case, if I'm advising any business, is that the CEO of the business, the friend account that is the main publication creator or the main editor, should be the personal account of the CEO of the company. So when writers see the training and then they go into the training to watch the training, which I recommend must not be more than 5 videos, just 3 to 5 videos, and each of them must not be more than 10 minutes in length. Okay, so the first video they see should be the CEO of the company on camera in full transparency, and then she breaks down everything that the publication is all about, and also reviews the fact that, hey, I'm the CEO of this company. So just in full transparency, but she would also go ahead to say that the publication and the company are quite different. But while she runs the two, and she's aware that she would have biases and there are lots of things that's going to overlap from there. So people should not be surprised, writers should not be surprised if they see things like that. So, but there's a difference between the company and the publication. That should be very clear. But people should understand that, of course, she is going to be slightly biased towards her own things and the things that she's doing. But there's a difference between the publication and the company. So coming out to say that upfront is super super powerful. So it's any issues that are going to come out later or anything that's going to create a kind of mess later has already been handled by that. So the first video for the training would just be the CEO coming out to say those things and express the mission and discuss things like that. And then let's say the next 2 videos would just be a screen share of what the best practices are and things like that, and that can be even done by someone else, maybe another one of the editors. So it's just a simple breakdown, simple training, nothing very very complicated. And then at the end of the training, which should be very very easy and very very straightforward, there should be suggestions of ideas and stories. Like these are the kind of stories that these are the kind of stories that perform well. And I've seen that because what most publications do on Medium is that they just give general guidelines and ask people to submit anything, which is really not helpful. And what you want to do is for you to have concrete ideas, concrete suggestions, because you have a purpose behind the publication. You have to give people like, these are the kind of ideas we want, these are the kind of stories we want, these are the kind of things that we want, and these are the kind of things that we do not want. And if you can share that in very very definite terms, it will be very very helpful for the writers. Now you get to the point where you optimize. And optimize means that you publish a good number of quality articles every day. It's important for you to do that. And the articles that you publish by writers, the writers who joined your platform, all of that, they would be quality if you have a good training program and you give them all these kind of good ideas and you give them kind of like the templates that they should use. You would find out that you would automatically be having quality submissions. And the problem with bad submissions is because writers don't know what to do, so they just write something off their head and just send it to a publication and hope that the publication accepts it, which they can, and then they can decide not to. So, but if you set the expectation, you do a very good job of the proper training, you would have quality articles, no doubt about that. And also note that with this, you put no ads on the articles on the publication. You do no affiliate links. This is very important, and you use no CTAs because you want to avoid getting banned and you want to avoid getting close to the line with the Medium rules and guidelines because they can be very very stringent. And also always use your Unsplash pictures as featured image as much as you can. You want to use the pictures that you put on Unsplash because that is actually where the value is for the company from the publication. And the idea here is to always add more and more writers. Focus on adding more writers. So the thing that a lot of people had focused on in the past with Medium is, we want to reach more people, we want to have lots of readers, we want to have lots of views. I'm telling you right now to flip that script. What you want is a lot of writers, not a lot of readers, not a lot of views. Forget about that. What you want is a lot of writers, because when you have a lot of writers, you know that those are your clients, those are your ideal customers, profile, avatar that you want to be focused on. So you have the opportunity to actually take them in and put them in your CRM, because that is what is going to be the base of your money making empire. So what you want is your target is the writers. Your target is not the readers. Your target is not the views. Your target is mainly the writers, and that is where you do your kind of lead generation. So instead of doing the lead generation the usual way, you do the lead generation in a different way, which is to target the writers, because the writers is who you need for your business, for your brand. And also, when things are going in high gear, I highly recommend that you apply to get into the boost program. And this is where things get really, really interesting. If you can get that, that would be a very good value add for the publication. Now, let's talk about the money moves. So now that you have writers, so let's say you have a 500, let's say you have 500 writers for the publication Life After Menopause. Now you can tell that you have 500 people who are at menopause, who are, the kinds of people that you want to reach. They are outspoken. These are people who are expressive. These are people who write, and other people see what they write. Other people read what they write. So they having a viral article is to your benefit, because you know that if you have a good relationship with these people, they would be the evangelists of your brand without even you trying, without even you doing anything. You have actually recruited evangelists for your brand, which is very, very important for any brand that's serious. So the way you do it is you invite publication writers. Now you have their emails and you have basic information about them that you collected during the application form for the writers. So you invite them for product pre-launches. And from there you can be able to gauge. They can give you quick feedback. So if you know something, if something is going to flop, they will be the one to tell you very early that it's going to flop, because they are customers and they are people who are going to write, because there's a way writers think. Because when you show them something, they are not just thinking of, oh, I'm going to use it for myself, like any customer would think. Anyone who is writing will also think, how can I talk about this, or how can I share this? Now, if they cannot make sense of how to share this with others that would make a lot of sense, then it shows that there's something wrong with that product or something. And that will enable you to find out issues very, very early and correct them. So writers that engage, of course, when you send invitations to them to come and be a part of your pre-launch for anything that you're doing for your product, not all of them will engage, not all of them will say yes. So, but those that engage, there will be some that engage. Those that engage and respond will become your brand community. That's your core community that you will start building from. And remember, now you have gone out of Medium. This is not a Medium anymore. This is now from your CRM to these people that are writers on Medium, because they are human beings. They are people. They have, there are lots of things going on in their life that is not Medium. So you get to, interact with them based on that. And then when you have those pre-launches and things like that, and you're collecting feedback, you give out secret discount codes to them, which, it's a good way of making them excited about doing business with you, about buying your products and using your products, and, writing all kinds of reviews about it. And then anytime you want to do a main launch, you have a pool of people that you can choose from as a kind of committee, whether paid or voluntary or whatever it is. If you want to do anything, you can just reach out to this pool of people that you already have and say, hey, we're trying to do this, at this particular location or whatever it is, and would you like to be a part of what we're trying to do? And you will find out there will be people who will be very interested in that, and you can take advantage of that also. And the moment they are engaged, you foster a sense of belonging among those riders. And that is how you create a community for your brand. And the moment you create a community for your brand, it becomes so easy for that brand to go far and for that brand to make a lot of money. So these are the kind of outcomes that eventually you see when you build something like this. If you follow this strategy and you implement it well, you will get customer loyalty. They will be loyal to you. The people that came to you from them would also be loyal to you. Okay, now you have operationalized word of mouth advertising, because now they're talking about you not because you forced them to, but because they have come into your world, and because they are natural writers. They will write about something. And if they write about something and they are writing about life, if they are writing about life after menopause, you know that at some point, they're gonna write about your product, and you don't have to force it. You don't have to, push it. It's just something that would happen. eventually, because that's how people are, that's how human beings are. And you have operationalized that, and that is good. And this is something you can continue to scale. Customer advocacy and activism is going to be present with those people, because now you have fostered a sense of belonging in them, and you have brought them into your world, and you should take very good care of them. You'll probably never have any failed launch ever again, because now you have people that you can share things with. Oh, we are coming up with this and that and that and that. And if it's going to flop, they will be the one to tell you. Of course, they may not tell you expressly, but they will express some concerns that will make it easy for you to spot the fact that this thing has a high potential of flopping if we don't if we don't address some facts about that. And then this has a chance of making you $1 million in every product launch that you do, if you do it right. So this is something that can, if you have, let's say, 500 writers, which is something that is not uncommon. You can have way more. There are publications that have way more than 500 writers, and let's say just half of them engage, and let's say just 200 of them are the ones that are in your community that you can call your brand community. Just think of that. 200 people at that core. Now think of the extension that will bring when they write, when they share. And most of them are not just writing on Medium. Some of them also have TikToks and all of those things. Of course, you won't ask for those things, but you would put them in a state where they would constantly be thinking about these things and all of that. And think about the ripple effect that is going to come out from there. So that is actually going to make your brand. It may not make it viral overnight, but it will create your people, your brand people. It will bring them into your world, and they will become very loyal. And this is something that can continually generate money for your business consistently without fail. So the fact that you can be able to make $1 million, it becomes easy, very easy and smooth with this process. Now, this is the old strategy. This is the breakdown, and I hope that you've learned something from that. I used an example of the healthcare, of the women's health, as a kind of case study, but I believe that applies to this, also applies to any other business or brand that targets any group in the demographics that I have shared earlier. And so this is about going from B2C, which is what most companies or most brands who are doing this is about, going from B2C to C2B, because the future of B2C is actually C2B. Now, B2C is business to customers, which is the way most businesses that are selling directly to customers, that's the way they operate right now. But the future is actually C2B, which is consumer to business, which is very interesting, and which is what this strategy is all about. Because this time, you are not the one advertising to customers, you're not the one telling customers things. It's the writers that you've built. That community would be the one, because they are customers. And at the same time, they have platforms, they have writing platforms. They may not be huge influencers, but they have writing platforms, and they have people who know them. From those people, they would be talking to their friends, they will be talking to the people who read their articles and their stories regularly, and then it will just be, so you are actually advertising not from your business to customers, but from customers to customers. So customers will actually come to your business because they heard from some other people that are your customers, and that is the future of B2C, which is actually C2B. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, like and subscribe and comments to share what parts you like about it. Thank you for watching.